Here's a helpful tip for players who play Commander and don't win as often as they'd like. Attack. The ultimate goal of the game is to reduce players' HP to 0. Even if that's not your win condition, attack. After all, the most important HP is the last one. A simple attack with an Esper Sentinel in the early turns is -1 life. Don't ignore this opportunity, because you might not get another chance later. This could be the first flap of the butterfly's wings. Remember the movie The Butterfly Effect? Let me explain. In the meantime, subscribe to this channel. Here, I share my experience playing Commander, from pre-con to competitive. If it so happens that you have creatures in the early turns and your opponent doesn't, attack. That's free damage. If this happens 2 or 3 times in a row, the player who spent their first turns just ramping or setting up their engines will end up with 25 to 40% less health. By that point, the decision tree might not be as straightforward as it was before, since they no longer have full health. They'll have to start thinking about getting blockers out or using their board wipe earlier than they'd like. After the board wipe, the other 2 players will most likely join you in attacking the player who used it, which will take the heat off you for a couple of turns. And maybe you'll want to go for the win during that window. If a player puts cards like Sylvan Library, Black Market Connections, Greed, Necropotence, Bolas's Citadel, and so on onto the battlefield, that's another reason to attack that player. He shows that for him, for his life, this is the main resource. You also need to keep an eye on life gain decks, because it's only a matter of time before an Etherflux reservoir hits the table and you get blasted for 50 damage. Why wait for that to happen? After all, you can start lowering their HP from the early stages. Having low HP in the late game can make a player realize they only have 1 turn left, which might lead them to make big mistakes or even try to win right then and there. And most of the time, those attempts end in failure, which means you're that much closer to winning. And don't attack random players. The next video will be about that. Subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you for your support.